Hi, I'm Danielle, and welcome back to Making Space. Not just a podcast, but a place for honest, open conversations about where people have been and who they're becoming. So, we're back. We're back for season 2, and it's just so crazy to think about where I was almost a year ago starting this podcast. I also recorded an intro episode, and it was just kind of like an unpolished moment for me to just be honest and share why I was starting the podcast, what my hopes for it were. And so I wanted to do something similar again for season 2. Also just to share with you all a little life update, my vision for this season, and just, what you can expect. It's crazy because I feel like a lot has changed since I last recorded for the podcast in November, but at the same time, a lot is still the same. And I was reflecting the other day, literally yesterday, I was sitting on my couch and I kind of had this, I don't know if I would call it an epiphany, but I had this realization that in so many ways, I am living in an answered prayer and in so many answered prayers. And I know you hear this in different contexts. People are like, you have so much to be grateful for. You are living in things that you were hoping for and praying for. But actually take a moment. Even now, take a moment, close your eyes if you need to, and just think about the things in your life that you're grateful for, the things that you just have, period. And maybe you can think back to when you were desperately desiring these things or when you were praying for them. I'm sure you can. And it's so easy, I feel like, as humans, our hearts are so fickle. It's just so easy to forget what brought you to where you are. And I think in this season, God has definitely been teaching me, you can't fully appreciate what you have if you don't acknowledge where you've been, you don't acknowledge what brought you here. So with that, what answered prayers am I talking about? If you have kept up with the episodes since last season, you probably knew that I left my job, I was applying to law school, then I was looking for a new job, and that was taking way longer than expected. And so cut to today, I started a new job at the end of last year. I started hearing back from law schools, all of these things that I was working towards last year, which was a challenging year for me, have been happening. And it's in the moment you were grateful, and then the next day I'm thinking about, okay, so where am I going to be location wise? And how's this going to work out and this and that? And my brain is just already moving towards the future, and I'm missing the happiness that is here for me right now in the present. And I feel like trying to make a decision now or trying to plan for something now without all the information that you need, that you would have at the point that you needed to actually make the decision, is a fool's errand. And it was just so crazy because I didn't think that that would be me. If you asked me in October how I would feel when I started the new job, how I would feel when I got into a law school, the answer I would have given you, I probably wouldn't have even been able to tell you because it would have been so just out of reach, or probably just felt so uncertain to me in the moment. And so the fact that I am here, all of those things have happened, is just so incredible. And I am so grateful, and I don't want to miss the joy and the celebration. I don't want to miss the chance to acknowledge how huge it is for me to see that God answered these prayers and that these things have started happening. I don't want to miss that. And so I think that kind of brings me to my vision for this season, which is, as you can see in the episode title, growing up. And I mean, growing up is a never-ending thing. But this year I am turning 25, which, for some people that's old, for some people that's young. All I know is I am doing everything in my power to avoid having a quarter-life crisis because I see it looming and I don't want that to happen. So I kind of told myself, there are certain things that you need to have in order or figured out to the extent that, these are things that are in your control before you turn 25, because after then it will no longer be cute. And I'm talking about things that are related to things I need to be more educated about, habits I need to build, things like that. that are definitely like within my control to a certain extent. So those are some of my goals for this year. But then I think, like I was saying, growing up for me is also going to be being present to my life right now. And you're going to see that with the episodes and the things that we're talking about. And I'm hoping that all of these topics will be helpful to you as well. And just being present to your life and taking each moment as it comes, celebrating the things that are to be celebrated, mourning the things that are to be mourned, and so on and so forth. So I also want to share a little teaser, I guess, on the episodes that you can expect this season. I don't like spoilers, so I'm not going to say too much. But some of the things that I am planning for us to touch on are your relationship with yourself, your parents, finances, moving, adult friendships, grad school, obviously, mental health, maybe eldest daughter syndrome, okay, and much more. So stay tuned for all of that. There may be a special guest or two as well, which is exciting. And let me know what you want to hear about. If there's something that you were thinking that kind of falls under this umbrella of growing up that you'd like to hear this season, let me know. I will post probably like a Q&A on Instagram as well. So if you're not already following at the Making Space podcast on Instagram, you totally should. That's my plug. And we're going to go back to the first Monday of the month episode release schedule. And I'm going to try my best to stick to it. So you can expect the first episode of season 2 to be released about 2 weeks from today on Monday, February 5th. Okay, I think that's everything I wanted to share. Thank you so much for being here, as always. I am so excited for this season, as always. I'm just excited to be back and for all the conversations that will be shared on the podcast, but then also off of it, because I think one of the best things is when I get messages about episodes, things that you are thinking about, things that you are feeling, how you related, how you didn't relate, everything. I love to hear it. So please continue to let me know your thoughts, and I will see you on the next episode of Making Space. So if you made it to the end, you can get a little story time. If you follow the podcast on Instagram, then you would have seen that the photo for this intro episode is my like preschool graduation. I want to say my preschool graduation photo. And I look, I'm looking at the photo now. I look happy, but like kind of sad. And I have like a straight face. And so the story behind this photo is that I was there with my mom, obviously. And I think I wanted to smile, but my mom was like, "You're graduating. Like, this is a serious photo. You have to look serious." And so for me, that meant looking like this. So I just thought it would fit perfectly with this episode because, you know, that's what growing up is about, right? Becoming more serious. That's all. Bye, y'all.